Hello everybody, it's Andy here from Media Games. Now I uploaded a YouTube short recently, turning the default cube into a screw head that you could use for detailing models. Now, if you're constrained to how many vertices, faces, etc., edges that you can have on a model, then what you can do is convert that into a stamp for like a normal map, for example, or even like an alpha. So let's go through the process again, and then I'll show you the extra step on top. But it's going to also include Substance Painter near the end, so stay tuned for that. So we're going to get rid of these. We're going to spare the default cube. We're not going to delete him this time. So we're going to select it, Control 3, go down to our modifiers, which is on the right hand side. And in our subdivision panel, we're going to apply this. So we're going to do Control A, making sure that we're in object mode. So the first thing I'm going to do here is turn on screencast, so you can see the keys that I'm pressing. I'm going to get rid of this menu with the N key, as you can see here. So pay attention to this section if you want to see the keys that I'm using. I may sometimes forget to say the key, so just keep an eye here as well. We're going to do Control A, select our mesh, our not so perfectly circular or spherical sphere, and we're going to shade smooth. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and press numpad 3, and then we're going to go into wireframe. From here we're going to press tab, we're going to press 3 on the keyboard, then we're going to go and box select these faces. Now in X-ray mode it will select everything all the way through. If you were to do this in solid view, it will only select what you can see and it will skip the other side. So make sure you're in wireframe. So I'm going to select all these and we're going to press X and delete. Then what we're going to do is now we're going to go and press 3 again, press S, Z, and then 0. I'm trying really hard here not to cough. I'm not winning. What we're going to do now is we're going to press E and then S to scale. And we're going to select this edge, right click, go to loop tools and circle. If you don't have loop tools enabled, you can enable that up here, preferences, add-ons, and then loop tools. Once you've enabled it, you can use it straight away. You don't have to restart like in Unreal Engine. So this here, this ring, we're going to select, right click, circle, scale it back in a little bit, press E, Z, and move down. Select this edge with Alt Shift click, and this one Alt Shift and then left click, and then we're going to zoom in a little bit, get a good angle, Control B. I'm going to scale it, make sure it's got only one face, and then scroll once. So it's just something like this. Okay, now press 7 on the numpad. Go to solid view with Z and drag across to the right. Go into edit mode, press 3 for face selection. We're going to select this face and hold control and select this one. Hold control, select here, and then the opposite one to this. Hold control and select here. Sorry, hold shift, my bad. Hold shift and select here. Hold control, select here, here, and then here, here, and here. So you've got this cross section. The next thing we're going to do, let's rotate our camera, press I, which is going to inset. If you ever want to inset but do the opposite direction, you can press I and then press O for Oscar, and that will outset your, if you have a look now, we have an outset shape. So that's how you do that. So press I to inset, and then we're going to do Alt E, extrude faces along normals, hold shift drag it down, press S, Z, and then 0. Select this face, this face, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And then you're going to press I to inset. And then that should be done. Press 7 for top down view. Press Control 3 to add a subdivision modifier. We don't have to apply it. We just want a really nice, smooth, high quality, high poly model. So we don't have to apply this. The next thing we're going to do is, instead of having this as our model, obviously you can see it's low poly now, it's not too bad, but if you have lots of these on your model, you might not want to use the model itself. You might want to use a stamp or like a normal map. So we're going to press 7, get us a top down view, Shift A, let's spawn in a camera and zoom out a little bit, and we want this camera to aim straight down. So we're going to press G, Z, move it up, press 0 on the numpad. So we have this view at the moment. We're going to go down to camera, go to perspective, and change it to orthographic, which is important because it gives us a perfectly straight on view. There's no slight bend or depth on 3D. It's all just straight on angle. And then we're going to go to our render properties, our output properties, click here and drag down, and then set this to 1024, which will make it perfectly square. Now we don't want to render anything in the background, including the grey background colour. We want it to be perfectly transparent. So in order to do that, we need to go to our render properties. I'm going to scroll down till you see film, and then you want to click this button here, transparent. So when we do a render of this, it will render without a background, so it will only be what we can see here, which is very important for this step. Next thing we're going to do is go down to our camera, and where it says orthographic here, we want to hold shift and drag. Get a nice high quality one, just something like this, which is perfectly fine. Now what we want to do is we're going to go up to the top here, click on this little drop down arrow, go to Mac App, click here, and then click here, which is our normals. And now it gives us a normal variation, color offsets for our green channel, which is going to give us our depth or fake depth when we use it as a stamp. Okay, so we're going to click here for overlay, show gizmo, and we're going to click here to get rid of all overlays. Now we're going to go to view, viewport render, and now we have our stamp for our screw head. So we're going to click image, save, and we've got here cross screw normal map. I'm going to just put V2. I always test it before I do it for you guys, make sure it works okay. Set this to 16, compression to 0, so we have high quality, and then save image. Now if we go into Substance Painter, we can import that map, add resources, and we can see here we have the one I made earlier, which looks probably a little bit nicer, but this one here, our second one, this one's a bit flatter, I believe. So we're going to select this and then click open, undefined to texture, go to import. Now we have it here, so let's add a couple of layers. Bearing in mind this is just a basic plane, there's nothing here that's special. This is just a flat plane with just two triangular faces, one here and one here, with a cut down the middle. I've already pre-baked this, so I've already gone to our croissant at the top, and I've already baked the maps out. So you will have to do that before you do this to get the best results. So what we can do is we're going to add a layer, paint layer. I'm going to leave all enabled. I'll show you first without, so we're going to hold Alt and left click, and I'm going to select the screw that we just created. Make sure we're on paint, just at the top left. We have our layer selected, we have our normal selected, and it's very important that we do this part. So if I was to do it now, it would be broken, it would be sunk inwards. Whereas this part here, let me highlight it better, this section should be inwards, but currently it's out. You can see it gives it fake depth, right? So what we want to do is click here, go to color spaces, and we want to invert that green channel. So let's delete this, set it back to paint, and we can see here normal, auto, direct 3D. We want OpenGL when painting. Now if we were to do it now, we can see we have depth to our object. It tricks the light, and now we've got the inverted green channel, so now we can see it's working properly. So this is a really, really good way to add some screws. Now you might think, well, wait, how do I have it so it rotates automatically? So let's go back 2 steps, make sure it's on OpenGL, and there's an option, there's an option here called angle jitter, and we can set this to, let's say 80. So every time you paint one, it will randomly rotate the screw for us, which is more realistic. Not all of the screws are going to be painted on the same angle, because you can see straight away it looks a lot worse, right? So with that done, let's go to our angle jitter and let's select our mirror, and we'll go on the Y, and we're going to paint one top corner. I'm going to paint one here in the top corner as well. So now we have some screws, but they don't look that great because it's only the normal layer. So let's go back a couple of steps. Let's scroll, where's it gone? Scroll down here where it says normal, and if we hold Alt and click, we can now include all channels. So the cool thing is here we can make it metallic or not, and we can also increase and decrease the height, so we can make it look sunken in. So if you add height to this, so let's do +1, what this will do is it will add a little indent around the paint when you, around the screw when you paint it on, which will make it, or give it the appearance like it's raised up off the surface. If you go into the minus height, you'll get the effect like it's being pressed down into the surface. You can see it's quite clever, but that's how it looks. So now it appears as though it's pressed into the surface, but it's a nice high quality stamp. The higher quality your unwrap, the higher the quality of the stamp will be. So if you have a very, very high res UV unwrap, you'll get a way better outcome with this. So the last thing before we end the video, so let's make it metallic, which it is, and let's increase the roughness to something like 0.7, and we can also change the color. You can see here, this is our preview. So if we were to paint this on now, we have these screws in the corners, and they are fake 3D, which is a great way to add very, very, very performance improved ways of adding detail to your mesh. I couldn't think of any words to say there, so it came out funny. But this is a better way than having lots of little tiny meshes with loads of vertices like this connected all over your model. Now they do obviously look better having them 3D, but this is again a really good way for painting that detail on. Now if you want these to have damage, last thing, hope you're staying to the end of the video, and if you like the video, like it, consider subscribing to support me, which helps me get more videos like this out. So the last thing is we're going to go and click on fill, which is this little paint bucket. It'll add another layer on top. Now if you've used Photoshop before, you'll know how this works. We're going to add a black mask, and then we're going to add a generator. And the generator we want to use is going to be metal edgeware. Now you can see doesn't make any sense, right? It's just sporadic, random. It's not really wearing edges. These are the edges, and it's just like somebody's flicked a paintbrush. So if we scroll down to micro detail, we enable both of these channels, scroll all the way down, we can see here we have micro normal, micro height. If we click on this, nothing's here for us to click, because we need to add a way of telling Substance that layer 1 wants the details on the edges. So to do that, we basically add this little dude called an anchor point, and this will tell, all this is doing is allowing the data here to be transferred to the layer above. So layer 1, now this one can access this detail. Go to Metal Edgeware, and now if we go to micro normal, you can see anchor points is now highlightable, and then we can click layer 1. See already it's starting to take effect, and we can do the same for our height. Again here, this Edgeware, and now what we can do is if we go down to levels and we invert this, we get a better effect. If we scroll up and increase the contrast, and then bring the wear level maybe down a little bit, we can see here, let's do metallic, and we also want to do, let's do roughness of 0.25, and we'll change the color slightly. Something like maybe that. Now if we go back into our Metal Edgeware and change, oops, not like that, and change our, okay, so quick edit, I did forget to mention a step. This is what happens when you record when you're tired, but in Substance Painter you do have to specifically specify which channel you want the effect to, you want the Edgeware to impact. Now if you go to your fill layer and then go to your generator, which is your Metal Edgeware, you can see here, if you scroll down, we have reference channels. We don't want the base color as our reference channel. You'll see the difference as soon as I select the correct channel. So for my micro normal, I'm going to select my normal channel, and you can see straight away that we have correct Edgeware, which gives more life to that screw. And then if you go down to micro height and go to height, it's also going to impact this edge around the height section as well. So again, looks way better. If we then add let's add a default layer to our mesh, you can see here, it makes it stand out even more. So this again is a great way to add extra details to your meshes, but without increasing the polygon or face count. So sorry for skipping that bit, sorry for missing it. I added it here at the end. Thanks for watching.